Drones. The more of them they get, the less we know. That's just how it is. Hey everyone, Chris Ferrone here, and no, I don't have anything to add to the pile about Charlie Kirk, nothing that hasn't already been said, and then some. I try to stay on message. I'm a local reporter. I love covering state politics, city stuff, and here we are. And it's not just me, it's the whole crew. So really today I'm talking about some work by Eliza Dewey, a fantastic reporter, recently did an incredible piece on healthcare in the Department of Correction in Massachusetts for us. But today we're talking about drones. You know, this is an issue. It's a very interesting issue because it's something that everyone kind of claims to care about. I don't know if anybody remembers. Right around the time Trump was reelected, about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, there were all these drone sightings. A lot of them in New Jersey, Mid-Atlantic region, and it was, everybody was up in arms, freaking out. It lasted for about 10 seconds. The Trump administration said, "Oh, they're just, doing." It was routine and nothing to worry. It was a real nothing to worry about thing. And I'm not saying there was necessarily something to worry about, except for, of course, Fourth Amendment violations galore. But my point is that the outrage is extremely selective when it comes to unmanned aerial devices or vehicles, as they're often called. So at the Boston Institute for Nonprofit Journalism, we've been reporting on drones a lot over the past year. That includes great stuff by Dana Forsyth about private drone use. I don't know if people are aware, but really it's kind of interesting. They took all the guardrails off of your private home drone, so you can now fly it anywhere. At the same time, you can still get in trouble flying, say, near Logan Airport. Some guys were arrested last year, so that's something we're watching. There is a contractor called Axon. They also make police body cameras and tasers, for those who are aware. Someone we've investigated a lot over the years. They also make a program, software called D-Drone, and that is something where police and authorities are using that to find other drones. So basically they'll know everything about your drone, where it flew from, etc. But another story that kind of is a little more relevant to what I'm talking about today is that I personally reported earlier this year that in January, a Saskatchewan-based company called Dragonfly, Dragan, self-described leader in drone technology and unmanned aerial vehicle solutions, announced that it secured, ready for this, a rare, and some of you may have seen this, FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, permission for drone operations over people and moving vehicles in Boston. It's called a Rare Urban Environment FAA waiver for a prescribed flight route. Now, what does this mean? We don't really know, but it basically means that this company can now contract with various agencies. They've also done stuff with hospitals to do stuff in Boston that, frankly, really was kind of only the stuff of nightmares until recently. And of course, for years, not just me, but reporters galore and groups like Restore the Fourth, props to them for the work they do, the ACLU of Massachusetts, have been trying to get information from the Boston Police Department about their use of drones. How do they use them? Where do they use them? Who do they share information with? And that's what brings us to today's story. You can find it at Horizon Mass. It's a binge search on all the binge social media. And of course, I'll post it under this, about the BPD flying, perhaps flying surveillance drones over the Dominican parade and the Caribbean Carnival. Did they do it? We don't know, because they won't tell us. Now, they did the year before at the Dominican parade. We are aware of that. That's documented. We're trying to see what kind of, what parameters are in place. What are the policies? It's always been difficult with drones. I cannot tell you, if people hadn't been there and urging politicians, Boston City Council up in Cambridge, Cambridge City Council to monitor this stuff, police would just do whatever the hell they want. They basically do anyway. So in this situation, as Eliza reports, so it's, August 17th, that was the Dominican parade, and she was there reporting on the ground, and lo and behold, near the mobile gas station over at Columbus and Washington, over where they have all those bus lanes now, drone in the sky. And the department's not answered records requests seeking information about these drone deployments, all right? We submitted it the day after the event. It were initially ignored. We sent a follow-up, calling the media relations department. Officer confirmed that they received the inquiry. 10 business days passed. State law says they have to respond to the request. And they did not. While waiting on the first request, the Caribbean Carnival happened, and Eliza went there as well, and submitted a request record the following Monday for the same kind of drone data. Did they have anything there? what did it record? All right. And to date, BPD has not fulfilled that request either. So here's why is this important? A number of reasons. Largely, we're wondering, does the BPD share drone surveillance footage with federal authorities? You know, in the past week, we've even seen, I think Bad Bunny is not doing his American tour because he doesn't want to give authorities an excuse to have large numbers of perhaps undocumented immigrants in one place. So what are we talking about here? Parades, same situation. And the delays, as Liza writes, the delays in fulfilling a request are notable because, first of all, because the police are supposed to fulfill this request, but also there's this historical context I'm talking about. The ACLU amassed previously documented concerns about BPD failing to inform the public about drone purchases. They've also, written about drones used by various state agencies, and Binges, of course, covered the stuff before. But I can't stress enough, City of Boston has a municipal law that prevents cops from engaging in civil immigration enforcement. Follow? Mayor Michelle Wu has said BPD won't work with ICE. Same time, right? The department has shared information with federal authorities for decades through something called BRIC, all right, the Boston Regional Intelligence Center. So like a law enforcement data clearinghouse, like a catch-all established after 9/11, which today, of course, the tragic anniversary. All of the above considered. And by the way, as for the whole never forget 9/11, people have forgotten everything. They remember that 2 towers fell. They forget that we live basically in the surveillance state that was created. And surveillance is like the least cool thing to report about. When people ask what's the difference between the kind of reporting I do and say what the Boston Globe does, it's not just that I'm further to the left. There's nothing to do with that. It has to do, we look at things that they really don't like to look at. Surveillance is one of them. When publications that cater to essentially the wealthy cover surveillance, what do they write about? Look how convenient it is to get through these tolls. We could get to our vacation homes in Maine faster. Anyway, I digress. So Eliza argues, all the above considered, it's reasonable to ask what, if any, information gathered by Boston police from wide-scale surveillance of events with a large immigrant presence may be shared with federal authorities. We just don't know. Cade Crockford from the ACLU, someone we've looked to on these issues for years, recently testified about this at Boston City Council. And the hearing was about Boston surveillance ordinance. It was on August 11th. Here's what Cade had to say. We're dealing with a different federal government right now. The federal government knows full well that here in Boston, the BPD is not meant to collaborate with civil immigration enforcement. So how do we know that federal officials are telling the truth when they say this is related to a criminal matter? And frankly, right now, we just don't.